President Trump in Corpus Christi, Texas, for a briefing there on Tropical Storm Harvey. He is also expected to visit the capital city of Austin in just a couple of hours to tour the state's Emergency Operations Center. The president says he might also make a second trip to Texas, but so far he is steering clear of the devastation itself so as to not interfere with the rescue efforts which are ongoing right now. Let's bring in a man who has been by the side of President George W. Bush as he toured the damage done by multiple natural disasters. Former White House press secretary and Fox News contributor Ari Fleischer. Ari, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
You know, you've been on the road. You've seen some similar disasters firsthand, from wildfires to tornado damage. What would your advice be to President Trump as he sets foot there in Texas today?
Well, that's right, Molly. I was with President Bush when he went to see the devastation caused by fires in Missouri and Arizona and tornadoes in Missouri. And there was something missing from what President Trump said. I hope he will say it later today, but that's the empathy for the people who suffer. That, with my opinion, should have been the first thing he should have said, was that his heart goes out to those people in Houston who are going through this, and that the government is here to help them to recover from this. And then secondly, the job of the president is to thank those who are the first responders doing all the rescuing. You know, that is a huge morale boost to those working so hard away from their families. Their homes are often flooded, but they're sacrificing themselves to save others, and the president needs to thank them. That's what a presidential visit can accomplish. I hope President Trump will return to that in some other public setting later today.
It is a tremendous response that's underway right now. The first responders, possibly we're hearing that one police officer may have lost his life. So
right.
There are people putting their lives at risk, and all these neighborhood folks coming out and helping one another as well. When you look back on what you've seen in the prior administration, are there takeaways that President Trump can use as he continues to respond to this natural disaster?
Well, yeah, one thing that's eternal about our country is the goodness of our people. You know, the number of first responders, volunteers, people sacrificing themselves and their families to go out and rescue strangers. You know, learn one of the vignettes. Talk about somebody by name who did something. Talk, of course, about the officer who died drowning. You know, these are the individual human stories that stir us and make us connected as Americans, that when calamity hits, we help one another. That's what a president should talk about, and he should talk about it by name of those who do it, and to say thank you, and then to send that message to Houston. We're here to help you, and we're going to get you through this.
Yeah. The president, you know, just setting down there in Corpus Christi. He's slated to continue on with his travels there to the Capitol to view the Operations Center. He's staying away from the actual area of the disaster, but he has made at least preliminary plans to return to the state later on, perhaps once those waters recede. Is that a good move?
Well, it is. The more times he can return, the more helpful it is. You know, having been on the ground, I just remember how exhausted some of those firefighters were in Arizona. They have been battling those blazes for days, and they're working as long as their bodies can hold up. And when the president comes in and says, thank you, what you're doing is important, you are saving lives, it gives them more energy, it gives them a bigger boost to go out and continue to do it, and that's what Houston needs. So yeah, there's a big role for a president here, and today, you know, maybe he was there for that first session just to listen to the people he's been given directions to, and to listen to what they say is going on the ground. He needs another moment today, though, to talk to the people of Houston and the first responders of Houston, and to say thank you.
Yeah, and we may see that moment yet to come. The visit not yet over. Ari, on the screen right now, we're seeing these ongoing rescues, and the FEMA administrator Brock Long saying, you know, they are still in life-saving mode down there. The waters are still very, very deep. There are homes that are still where the water is still rising. So there's still a lot of unpredictability here, a possibility that we'll see a greater loss of life by the time this is all over. Can the president say anything or do anything in that regard when people are so concerned about their family members that perhaps they can't reach because their family members no longer have power to their cell phones, that sort of thing, some sort of comfort?
Well, one of the things I've seen presidents do is they go through and describe what the government is doing, and those steps are so often very practical. You know, about the FEMA people advise you, hang a sheet out your window, hang a white towel out your window if you need to be rescued. There are a series of actions that FEMA has taken that can be conveyed to people that the president's the biggest messenger of. You know, the president is not the rescuer in chief, but he's the communicator in chief. And that's a role that presidents have to play when there comes a natural disaster like this.
All right, Ari Fleischer, you know, you have been there. Your insight is so valuable. Thanks for coming on and joining us today.
Thank you, Molly.
Thank you.